Pastor Roy Gerhart from Galloway United Methodist Church in Franklin, Pennsylvania, sharing a few words of encouragement to help us follow after Jesus. Why do we have 7 days in our week? Have you ever stopped and thought about that? I know that some of you get your work schedule shuffled around this way and that, but look, 7 days in a week. Why? Why do we stick to that? Why do our calendars follow that? Well, I got to say the answer basically is God. I mean, when God created the world, we're told that whole process plays out in 7 days. 6 days God worked, each day creating something else. And then it says on the seventh day, God took a break. He took a sabbatical. He sat down to rest. And this rest is not like, oh, God's so tired. It's a rest in which you get to appreciate what has been and anticipate what's to come. God is able to set this model then for you and me that he says, I want you to live like this. And the amazing thing is that even as our culture has changed and shifted over the years to be less influenced and directed by Christian and Jewish values, that 7 day week still kind of fits a rhythm. It's because God really created us in a way that this pattern fits. And it gives us a good cycle. If we were working 10-day weeks, man, it starts to get to be a long stretch. If we were working less, it'd just be a quick little jump on and on and on and on and on without ever really getting a sense of taking a break in the midst of life. You know, it's interesting to me then that in Exodus 16, that God brings the Sabbath back into play in a big way with his people. It's the first time, as far as I can tell, that the Sabbath is mentioned in the Bible after creation. In Exodus 16, there was this big problem. There was a food shortage. People cried out. In fact, they grumbled and griped at God and Moses that they were brought out there to starve to death. But God comes through in a big way, providing for them a whole flock of quail coming in all across their path. And then the next day, they start picking up manna. And manna is like these little white flakes that show up on the ground every morning. And they just go out and they pick them up like cornflakes and are able to make bread out of them and, just cook them up and have this really tasty treat that they get to eat. There's, though, a couple of little caveats attached to this. There's a hitch in it. God tells them, number one, when you go out there every day, just pick up what you need. Don't try to save any over to the next day. I will provide it again tomorrow. So they have to learn a pattern of trusting God day to day. They don't get to just stack it up and save it and start saying, I'm taking care of myself. They have to trust God every single day. God wants them to get into that kind of a pattern in their mind, in their heart and soul, and so that they can just put a confidence in him and really build off of that in their lives. Now, the one exception to this, don't save anything over, is on the 6th day. It says you can pick up double the amount you need. Go ahead and cook it up and have it all ready so that the next day, on the 7th day, the Sabbath, the rest day, you don't have to go out and get any. You can take a break and just look back and appreciate what God has been doing in your life, how life is going, and anticipate what's coming up in the next week with a hope and a joy because you're connecting with God. This is the pattern that God is setting for their lives. But it's a challenge. Right off the bat, people don't want to listen. They try to save stuff over for the next day, and it rots, it spoils, it stinks, and it gets full of bugs and worms and stuff, and so it doesn't work for them. And then, whenever it comes to Sabbath, then all of a sudden, they want to be going out there and picking up manna on the Sabbath day. That even though God said it's not going to be there, they had to look. They just had to go out there and try to get some. And so that God says to them, what's the matter with you people? You don't want to listen to anything I tell you. Here I am trying to give you a chance to rely on me and to get a break, to have a day off, and you don't want to listen and take it. You don't want to have this chance given to you to rest. Now listen, if you and I take this and blow it up way beyond just the weekly pattern, what do you get? God is trying to lead us into a pattern of life where we're building a trust in him on a continual basis. And what's that do for you and me? Well, I'll tell you what, without that kind of trust in God, you never do get to a day where you rest. You just go from one problem to another, trying, straining, working hard, constantly worrying. How do I protect myself? How do I provide for myself? How am I going to get ahead? What God is setting up for you and me is a pattern in which we get a chance to begin to rely on Him in a way that we can finally take a break. You can have some peace of mind, a little rest from your worries, and be able to get a chance to look back over your life and appreciate what God has done and anticipate the rest of your life with what God is going to do. May God bless you today, and as you share this good news, may God make you a blessing wherever He takes you.